Yes, Trump just confirmed it, and it's going to shake Washington, because what he signed into law, it's not just another political gesture. It's a fundamental shift that could put real money back into the pockets of retirees. Finally. But let me ask you this. How is it that Congress can retire on six-figure pensions, fly first class for life, and yet 22% of seniors in this country are trying to live on less than $15,000 a year? That's not retirement. That's survival. And now that this new bill is official, it's time to break down what it really means for your Social Security check, how much more you could actually see. And this is critical. What mistake could erase every dollar of that increase if you're not careful? By the way, comment your age and what state you're in. I love seeing who's out there planning smarter. It helps me guide these updates better too. Now, let's talk straight. You've probably heard the headlines. Trump signs new expansion act. Social Security boost coming. $2,400 more annually. Sounds amazing, right? But let me tell you something. As someone who's been doing this for over 25 years, headlines don't pay your bills. Real dollars do. So, what's actually happening? Let's start with the first trap nobody's warning you about. That $200 a month increase? It's real. But there's a catch that's already eating away at your gains. Hidden tax triggers that activate the moment your check gets bigger. Here's the deal. Yes, this expansion is legitimate. You're looking at $2,400 extra per year for every Social Security recipient, including SSI and SSDI. But here's where it gets tricky. The second those checks increase, the income thresholds that trigger benefit taxes go up too. What does that mean for you? Up to 85% of your Social Security could suddenly become taxable, even though you already paid into the system for decades. Think about that for a second. You paid income tax your entire working life. You paid FICA taxes. You paid Medicare premiums. And now the government wants to tax your retirement benefits again, simply because they gave you a raise. It's maddening. And here's what really gets me. Most seniors have no idea this double taxation is happening. They just notice their tax refund shrinking or wonder why their monthly deposit seems smaller than expected. So what's the fix? You need to understand how this tax formula actually works, and more importantly, how to legally keep your provisional income low enough to keep those benefits tax-free. It's actually simpler than you might think, and I'll walk you through it. But that's just the appetizer. The main course is even more frustrating. Here's trap number 2 that the media conveniently ignores. Medicare premiums are about to quietly steal your entire raise, and they're betting you won't notice. Here's how this shell game works. The Social Security Administration makes a big announcement about your COLA raise. That's your cost of living adjustment. For 2026, we're looking at about 2.7%. Sounds decent, right? But here's the kicker. Medicare Part B premiums are climbing by nearly the same percentage, sometimes more. So the government hands you an extra $40 with one hand, then takes back $35 with the other hand on the same day. They call it adjustment. I call it highway robbery. And let me share what I've witnessed with my own clients over the years. Some folks actually ended up with smaller net checks than the previous year, despite getting a so-called raise. This is exactly what I mean when I say the system is designed to look generous while functioning like a financial mousetrap. What can you do about it? There are 2 strategic moves you can make right now that could dramatically reduce how much Medicare siphons from your check. I'll cover both strategies after we tackle the next section because everything connects. And trust me, this next part will absolutely make your blood boil. It's called the Social Security tax cap, and if you've never heard of it, that's by design, because it's precisely how millionaires legally dodge paying their fair share while working Americans foot the entire bill. Here's the setup. Social Security taxes only get collected on income up to $176,200 in 2025. Let me paint you a picture. If you're a nurse earning $65,000 yearly, you pay Social Security taxes on every single dollar you make. But if you're a corporate executive pulling in $1.2 million, you only pay Social Security taxes on that first $176,200. Everything beyond that, completely tax-free. Now tell me, how is that remotely fair? Why should a teacher pay full freight on every paycheck while a hedge fund manager gets a six-figure free pass? They dress it up as proportional contribution. I call it a rigged system. The damage this creates is staggering. If Congress simply eliminated that cap and made every earned dollar count equally, we could fully fund Social Security for generations without touching the retirement age or cutting a single penny in benefits. But they won't budge, because the people benefiting from that cap are the same ones writing the rules. So what's your move? First, stay aware. The next time any politician claims we can't afford to expand Social Security, ask them why billionaires still get a massive tax break on their income. You paid in your whole career. They didn't. Second, structure your retirement income strategically to minimize your taxable exposure. There are completely legal methods for this, and I guarantee you, wealthy people use these strategies every single day. But everything I've covered so far, that's just the warm-up compared to what I'm about to reveal, because we just witnessed the biggest shift to hit retirees in decades, and it could represent a once-in-a-generation opportunity to secure your financial future. Everything changed on July 4th, 2025, when President Trump signed the Senior Tax Relief and Expansion Act. No fanfare, no long speeches, just results. Here's what's inside this game changer: a $6,000 additional deduction for anyone over 65, zero federal income tax on tips, overtime, and even car loan interest. And the big enchilada, nearly 90% of Social Security recipients no longer owe any federal income tax on their benefits. Let me say that again so it sinks in. No more income tax on your Social Security check. For the overwhelming majority of Americans, your benefits are now 100% tax-free. This isn't a campaign promise or a proposal floating around Congress. This is actual law. But, and this is crucial, you only benefit if your retirement income is structured correctly. If you're still pulling distributions the traditional way from old-school IRAs, high-interest savings accounts, or taxable investments, you might miss out on the full advantage. You need to optimize your withdrawal strategy to stay under the key thresholds, and I'll show you exactly how to do that in just a moment. But want to know the most unbelievable part? Congress fought this bill tooth and nail. They claimed it was too generous. They worried about adding to the deficit. Funny how nobody seemed concerned about deficits when they were bailing out Wall Street banks or shipping billions overseas, right? Let's be honest here. When it comes to helping seniors retire with dignity, Washington always discovers a reason to stall, until now. And while this new law represents a major breakthrough, there's still one more trap lurking that could wipe out these gains before you ever see them. All right, here's the final punch to your Social Security check, and the reason why, even with a raise, most retirees still feel financially squeezed. It's called the COLA illusion. On paper, cost of living adjustments are supposed to shield your benefits from inflation. For 2026, they're projecting a 2.6 to 2.7% increase. Sounds reasonable, doesn't it? But here's the harsh reality. That increase is already spent before it hits your account, because every time your check goes up, your Medicare Part B premium climbs right along with it. In many cases, that premium increase devours the entire COLA raise, sometimes even more. I've witnessed this scenario too many times. Clients who were excited about their promised raise only to discover their take-home benefits stayed exactly the same, or worse, actually shrank. And the price increases don't stop there. Grocery bills are climbing, rent is up, prescription drugs are through the roof. Electricity, gas, phone bills, everything costs more, yet your Social Security check stays stuck in neutral. What does this tell us? It reveals that this was never really about adjusting for the cost of living. It was about managing your expectations, conditioning retirees to feel grateful for table scraps while politicians feast on taxpayer-funded pensions. But here's the silver lining. You don't have to accept this status quo. For the first time in a generation, we have real tools available to fight back, not emotionally, not politically, but strategically. With the new senior tax deduction, the right withdrawal timing approach, and smarter healthcare plan choices, you could save thousands, far more than any COLA bump was ever going to deliver, but only if you take action now. The worst mistake you can make is assuming the system will handle it for you. It won't. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. They're not betting on your financial collapse. They're counting on your silence. Let me say this clearly. You built this country. You paid into this system. You deserve better than a slow slide into poverty. You deserve a retirement built on respect, not restrictions. Financial stability, not survival mode. That's exactly why I'm here. Not to spread fear, but to arm you with the tools to fight smarter. That's been my mission for 25 years. So if you found this information valuable, if you want straight facts without the sugarcoating, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I've got more revelations coming, and you won't want to miss what's next. Because what Washington tries to hide, we're going to keep exposing together. Now that Trump's bill is in place, your next move matters more than ever. So stay vocal, stay sharp, and stay in complete control of your retirement.